Hey guys, you're welcome to my YouTube channel, Tech, where we have video tutorials on React, JavaScript, Node, Express, and so on. Today we want to look at something very interesting titled Dynamic Routing, Params and Query Strings in Node. This tutorial is one of the Building a RESTful API with Node and Express series. We've made 2 tutorials on that. We are on a kind of series, and this is the 3rd one. We've made 2 tutorials already. This is the 3rd tutorial in this series. So today we are going to be talking about how to pass parameters and query strings to an endpoint. Meaning we are going to make an endpoint dynamic. We make decisions on what is passed from the client or from any server that is calling your endpoint. We want to first of all consider how to pass a parameter to an endpoint, to a route. Take for example, we have this route post. If you want to make it dynamic such that when a parameter is passed, you can get that value, the parameter value, and then you make your decision. Now, this is a typical example of what I'm talking about. You know, you have the post endpoint, and what comes after is your parameter, that is 1. So you look at the DB and fetch out whatever matches that parameter, and you return it to the client or whoever that is calling your endpoint. App.get post. So you put an argument or a parameter here, or you call it a placeholder. Request console.log params request. So if I put 1 and I fire, let's check. So this is the result. Now we can easily get this value by saying request.params.id. So let's take, for example, let's say we have posts. We have this data. Okay, let me just use data here. Okay, take for example, this is our data post. We have ID, title, content, 1, 2, 3. So I can easily say let data be equal to, so that is post dot find, then find, that is find, then find a post, then post dot id equal to our request params dot id. Now you have to note that the value that comes back here is appearing as a string, so we have to do a kind of JSON.pass so that we get the original value, which is a number. Okay, so we have this. Now we can return our data. So find is going to look through this and get this, the one of these that corresponds with the parameter passed. Okay, let's try what we've implemented. 1. Yes, we can see the data. If I put 2 here, it's going to give me 2. But let's say you put something like 7. You can see nothing is coming back. So what do you think is happening here? It means that this guy is returning undefined. So when it is undefined, nothing is returned to the client. So we have to check for that. How do we do that? Let's get another variable to cater for this for us. Now when data is undefined, or when it is when it has something, or when it returns an object, it should give us that. Otherwise, it should give us, it should send this message to the client: data not found. So we can bring this here. Message data not found. So that's about parameters. Take for example, we want to further query the endpoint such that we can get maybe a single field or a single property out. For example, you only need the content of this data, that is this data having ID as 1, or probably you only need the title. So what do we do in that case? So we can bring in something called querying string. So what is querying string? Query string is like this. For example, we have something like posts, and then you now have a question mark, then you pass your property, or you call it the attribute or the key. Maybe, let's say maybe the key is name, then you put the value of that name. Maybe the name is maybe A. So now this is the query, that is name is equal to A. So it's going to, you are going to look at the DB, and then you fetch the data that corresponds to this query, and then you send it to the client. Let's try to do something like trying to send only one of these, either content or title. So in that way, we are going to bring in something called request.query. For us to understand what we're talking about, let's do console.log request.query. So I'm putting 1, then I'm at the same time saying, let's say we are doing what are we talking about here now? Say name is equal to content. So this is normal. Now we have name content. Have it as name content, or probably you can also pass something like saying, instead of doing name, you can just say content is equal to true. So that means this is what we have here. So let's try to implement something like this. So let's say when the person passes content and says is equal to true, then that's when we are going to, okay, or let's just say probably let's say name. Okay, let's use the word name. Let's use the word name here, like we have it here. Name is equal to content, or let's just say the person says field is equal to content. Yes. So that's what we have. So doing this, so we can have something here called query. Let query be equal to, so we need to first of all check whether what is passed is correct or not. What I mean is that whether it exists or not. So if it does not exist, if you are not passing anything, you are going to have an empty object. So let's quickly try that out. You see what I'm talking about. So this is an empty object. How do you check for empty objects in JavaScript? In JavaScript, an empty object is true. So an empty object is true in JavaScript. So that is when you Boolean and you pass an empty object like this, it's going to give you true. Zero or empty string, you're going to get false. So the best way to do that is to just to put request and then check for the length. This is going to return an array of keys. Then if it's not equal to 0, meaning it's not empty, then we want to have this query dot name and dot field. So, and then if it is, then we are passing null, so that we can use this null to achieve what we call false logic, so that we have a kind of false as a value, and then we throw something else. So this is query. Now when the data is available, we have this. So here now we want to do something. So we want to further query the data. Now how do we do that? So we have data already. So now this data will carry any of this. So now how do we get this out of it? So we can easily say, okay, so we are returning, so okay, now let's say if query exists, then we have what we call data. Okay, so let me put it in brackets. So it will be data to so we have this as our, okay, so because we are creating a field for it, so it will be data, then we have what we call so this is going to carry content, right? Query. So this is carrying the content already. So then this okay, sorry, this is what we have as our value here, and then we have our query here. So this is it. So what I've just done here, okay, so let's complete this. So this is the result. Then if it does not exist, then return the normal data. So what I've just done here is this. This query is going to, we have already passed our, okay, we have query.field, which is going to return any of this, and then we are putting it here as our key. Then this if you want to get data out of an object, so you can actually use a square bracket or use a dot notation like data dot whatever. But because this thing is coming as a string, so just use a query, a square bracket to get the data. So this is going to give us our results. So let's try out what we've implemented. So this is going to still give us our work. So let's say field is equal to content. So we have an error here. Okay, so let's try to check out that. Okay, so there's a problem here. So this is what we are supposed to do. Okay, so that's it now. Okay, so this is supposed to be request dot query. So this is the result, and if you put, let's say we are putting 2, it's going to give you this. and you still have this. So so this is all about dynamic routing parameters and query string. Okay, so take for example app.get, that's phones. Okay, request res. So let's say we are talking about let phones be equal to okay, so let's say we have something like called Samsung, and then we have 2 3, we have Nokia, and let's say we have Techno. Let's see, Techno, is this Techno spelling? Okay, Techno. So we want to use query string for this. Okay, so the person is going to pass name. So how do we do that? We can say let our query be equal to, so our normal object checking for existence, that is request dot query dot length not equal to 0. So if it's not equal to 0, so we get query dot, so we get request dot query dot name, and then if it does not exist, so we pass null. So we come here to the data. So now we can now say our data, let data be equal to query. So when it is okay, query, now we bring in our phones dot find, then that will be phone, so it will be phone dot name equal to, what are we talking about here? That's query. There is something we need to check. We need to convert whatever that is applied to lowercase, same with this, to lowercase, so that if it is either a uppercase or lowercase that is passed, we can always use lowercase to check. Okay, so this is what we have. So now, so this is query, and then we can put our, so when it is not found, meaning like if there is no params that is found, then we should put what we call this message no data found. And also in a situation whereby this is also not giving us we are looking for, meaning returning undefined. So sorry, so if this is not undefined, so we put this. So what I'm talking about is that in case it exists and is giving us undefined, then we should be able to say data not found. So data, okay, so this is where we need it, data not found for this place, and then this will rather be, so this will rather be phones. So and it's going to return everything. So where the query does not exist, we send back everything. But when we have one, we check for existence. If we are able to get it, then we send the data. But if we are not, then we send data not found. So let's try out this. Call it phones. So let's try out phones. Samsung is not defined. Okay, sorry, it's supposed to be a string. String. Oh, we are not returning anything. So that's going to be data. So now name is equal to Samsung. Say data not found. That means I made a mistake in my spelling. Let's correct that. Samsung. Now name Samsung. That's it. So let's say we say Techno. Now here we have it. So this brings us to the end of the tutorial. Expect more. We are still in the series. We are still going to release more. So please, if you are yet to subscribe to my YouTube channel, please do so. Turn on the notification bell also, and expect us, and I will see you in my next video. Thank you.